Hi, I'm Aubrey Adams and I'm down here with the Huntsville Depot Senior Design Team. We're working to make an integrated sound system for this 18-wheeler that's going to seem realistic, it's going to simulate the sound of a real big rig truck, and we want it to be hidden and to the point where you can't really tell it's there at all. Here in a second we're going to pop open the hood and we're going to show you exactly what makes it work. Alright, you can see we've got the hood open now. We're in there into the guts of our system. We're going to show you just how it runs. Inside, we have the crossover on top. It's what helps us to control the bass and set all of the rumbling and the bass to the subwoofers while we keep some treble sounds in the top speakers and the ones that sit behind you to get an overall realistic sound. Underneath it, we have a receiver slash amp and another amp below that we use to pump up the volume. In here, you can see one of our subwoofers. This one's set right up against the firewall. We're really trying to hammer the sound through there and make it come from the engine compartment like a real truck would. Also, talking about how we have to keep everything hidden. Underneath there is one more subwoofer that's right beneath your feet that really gives you that realistic vibrate in the floorboard. But it's so well hidden we can't really show it to you. It's hard to see. You can see in the back there we've got our computer that we're using to control the sounds. On the other side of it is the keyboard that we're using to receive all the inputs and transfer them to the computer. We're going to walk around to the other side and show you that here in just a second. Alright, we've moved around to the other side of the truck and we're going to take a look at the keyboard that we've been using to receive the signals from inside the cab. You can see there's some wires that are coming out of the cab and they're coming from the other side as well. We wire them all in through here, through our box, into the keyboard. What happens with the keyboard is the wire runs into a transistor. If you apply voltage to that wire by pressing one of the switches in the cab, it completes the circuit and makes it basically simulates that key being pressed, which sends a signal to sound cue system. You can see this little black box on top. This is what we're using to wire out our sounds to other vehicles. Mr. Smith had often talked about wanting more of a centralized system, wanting something that could branch out in the future, and that's what you can do with this. He can either choose to put in more sounds on the truck, or he can wire them out to another vehicle. Also the box, I thought I was going to mention that. Adam fabricated that himself. It's a wonderful job. Really like it. I think we're going to move into the cab after that. Alright, we've moved inside the cabin of the truck. We're going to take a look at the switches inside, how they work with each other, and how each one functions. You can see up here at the top we actually have two speakers in front of you that play not the bass but the higher sounds. You can't really see it, but in the back there's also a couple of speakers that we're using to give you more of a surround sound quality. Starting off, first switch is the engine start. It's just a button right over here. You can press it in. Just sends a signal right to the keyboard, goes to the sound cue system. We talked with Mr. Smith and what he wanted was an engine that would be playing constantly just as in a real truck. So with this one, when it receives a signal, it plays the engine idle and that's going to last you a good 40 seconds without having to do anything. Next we have a horn. The horn plays a Dixieland horn. We thought that was pretty funny. It doesn't interfere with anything. You can play that over the top of whatever, doesn't matter. Down here in the bottom we got the brake. It'll play an air brake sound. Once again, shouldn't interfere with anything. It's just over the top. It has a switch behind it actually, and when you let the pressure off the switch, that sends the signal to the keyboard. It knows the button's been pressed. With the gas, we have a similar switch that we're using, but it's actually inside the engine compartment. Basically there's a rod that goes down and up whenever you press the gas, and when you press the rod down it pushes in on a switch. That tells it one signal. When it comes back up, the switch is released and that sends another signal. Basically that signal is being sent all the time. We just had to use filter keys to get it to not play that sound constantly. Alright, also we have a Jake brake switch right here. Once again, just one of those that goes over the top. I forgot to mention with the gas also kills the sound of the idle that's going, so you hear just the gas revving up. You don't have sounds overlapping with one another. And after you let off the gas, that fades out, sounds pretty good, and it also starts up another cycle of 40 seconds of idle, so you can really keep the truck running without any problem. Talked about Jake brake. The CB radio, it's pretty neat. You can see we've got the button right there, just like you would normally press to press on the CB radio. It'll play a trucker talking to you. You can talk back. Pretty neat. Also, we've got a radio that we've installed. We didn't want to mess with the potentiometers inside. We were afraid we either wouldn't have enough resistance or would have too much to trigger the signal. So we just went with a push button. You can just press the one button and it turns on the radio, plays a few songs, and we're going to demo all of these for you here in just a few minutes. Alright, we're going to demo some of the sounds for you now. What we're going to do is do each sound individually. We're just going to let it play for a little bit, then stop it so you don't have to sit through the whole thing. Later on, we're going to do an integrated test where we let you see how different sounds interact with one another. Starting off, we're going to do the engine start. It's just a little button right over here. And there you go. Alright, sounds pretty good. Let's try the horn. I'm using as always. And you notice you hear the engine sound after that. We've set it up so that randomly certain sounds will refresh the idle. That was something Mr. Smith talked about, was he wanted the idle to keep going as long as you're in here pressing buttons. And we don't want every single input to do the idle, but we've set it up about 1 every 3 times. Certain switches will restart it. Alright, next we've got the brake. That's just a simple air brake. You can keep hitting it. It's awesome. Alright, then we've got the gas. Alright, now watch when I do this. I'm going to hold down my foot and I'm going to let the idle build, or the engine rev build, and it'll keep doing that as long as I keep it depressed. Now I'm going to let off. You can see it goes back to idle. That'll last for another 40 seconds or so. Alright, after that we've got the Jake brake. It's some sort of engine compression system that helps trucks slow down. It's supposed to be really loud, and we've got it set up so that it really gets a strong vibration in here. Once again, it refreshed the idle, so that's a good thing. We got the CB radio. We're going to show you kind of how it should work for somebody.
Hey, good buddy, give us a holler when you get to your home 20.
I'm here. How you doing? Is this interview or whatever going good?
That's a big 10-4, good buddy.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. Okay, we've also got the radio. Let's let you hear that.
On the road again.
Got Willie Nelson. And in about 15 seconds or so, it's going to transition into 18 wheels and a dozen roses. It's in really well. Let's let it play for a second.
I keep waiting on the road again. On the road.
King County.
We have that hooked up to the subwoofers at the moment, apparently. Awesome, that's better. Okay, we fixed that. Let's see here. I think that's about it. Shouldn't be anything else to demo. We're about to do the integrated demo here. Alright, now we're going to do an integrated run. What that means is we're going to let all the sounds run. We're not going to do one at a time. We're going to let you see how they overlap and how they work with each other and how they work well. So, we're going to start off. Going to hit the engine. Alright, we're going along. We're going to hit the brakes a few times. It works fine. Horn. Alright, and gas. Notice it's not really overlapping the sound. It's just there was idle, then there was gas, and now I'm going to let it back off, and we're going to go back to just idle. Works like a charm, automatically. We're going to do the Jakes. Jakes also work well. We might be driving along doing our Jake brakes and want to listen to the radio. So, a little bit harder to hear, but that's okay. That's how it is in a big rig. You can't always hear the radio that great. Same with the CB radio.
Hey, good buddy, give us a holler when you get to your home 20.
How are we doing so far, good buddy?
That's a big 10-4, good buddy.
Excellent. Radio still running, doing good. All right, before we end our video, we had one more question we wanted to ask our trucker friends out there.
Hey, good buddy, give us a holler when you get to your home 20.
Do you think Dr. Corsetti's going to give us an A on this project?
That's a big 10 for good buddy.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. That's funny.